Welcome to another Lighthouse Sea Fishing tutorial. In this video we discuss what is easily one of the most important factors of shore fishing: fish attracting features, what they are and how to find them. We'll first quickly run over why features matter. We'll then go through what the features are, including how to find them. These will include features related to changes in seabed level, solid structures that exist in the water, marine life colonies, as well as features relating to currents and the coastline. So how much do features matter? On most venues, there are large areas of flat featureless ground. These areas are virtually devoid of food for most of the time. As fish have evolved, they have adapted their behavior to look for food where some kind of structure exists in the water. They do this by either routinely visiting these areas at certain times, or sometimes even by living closely to these areas. The reason for this is that structure traps food floating on the current. It provides a place where the current is not as strong, so food will have a tendency to gather up in these places. Places that hold structure also give small marine life a place to live and feed. These in turn become prey for large fish. So let's start with the first types of feature: changes in seabed level. Take a look at this image of a beach. We can see that there are actually a number of different features that can be spotted here. The first are sandbanks. Sandbanks are long stretches of raised sand where the water shallows. This is the result of sand being pushed and dropped back as the force of any wave action crashes then weakens, dumping the sand along a bank. As this process happens, creatures living or hiding in the sand, such as sand eel, are dislodged and disorientated. As the sand is being pushed back by waves heading towards the shore, the place that food will likely be dislodged will be the incline or side of the sandbank that faces the sea. This means aiming baits just beyond a sandbank can be a productive place to cast, especially for specific species such as certain ray species. Look out for long banks of sand at low tide, especially on a spring tide when the largest amount of beach is exposed. Another example of a substrate-formed feature is a gully or gutter. These are longer trenches that sit along the sand, quite often parallel to the beach line. They are left over from the sand being moved elsewhere from the wave action and current of the tide. These areas come in the form of deep troughs or even shallow indentations just a couple of inches lower than the sand around them. When these areas form, they provide an area outside the stream of the current where predator fish can lie in wait, as well as a place where sunken food rolling around on the bottom can settle. This makes them effective areas to aim for, as they attract a multitude of species. This also includes areas where these channels meet that can help concentrate fish traveling through. Again, scoping them out on a low tide, as for any feature, is a good method to use. The last type of noticeable features here are bottlenecks. Bottlenecks can exist in different places, such as in the main channels of estuaries, but here, when we use the term bottleneck, we are talking about the small channels that separate sandbanks. Fish traveling along may be channeled into these bottleneck gullies, so placing baits in these spots when casting can be a good way to go. As well as all the long-shaped indentations we have mentioned so far, it is also possible to find rounder, bowl-shaped hollows along the shoreline, known as depressions. These can hold fish for much the same reasons as the gullies. Look out for puddles or any water laying along lines along the beach to find any of these types of features, either when the tide is out or as the tide is flooding in, so you know where to cast when the tide has covered the beach. So what about natural solid structure features in the water? One of the main natural solid structure features that you will find on beaches are rock patches. Rock patches provide gaps, pools and surfaces for prey such as crustaceans, shrimp, small fish and more. Larger fish and predators will take the opportunity and patrol these areas during the short time window that the tide allows them, as well as low-lying patches of smaller rock, Larger boulders and headland that juts out can also hold the same kind of food. Casting near these areas, but not on them, will allow you to have the benefit of putting your baits closer to hunting fish, without the risk of snagging on the rocks. Seaweed beds are another feature that creates solid structure. Weed beds lay flat when the tide is out, hiding crustaceans and other creatures both underneath and in amongst the strands. As the tide comes in and submerges the weed beds, their strands float and stand upright into the water, and this exposes many of the crustaceans and other creatures hiding underneath to hunting predator fish. Again, just as with rock patches, casting near them but not on them will bring the benefits without running the risk of losing tackle to snags. Now for one of the best natural food spots for fish: marine life features. The main types of sea colony features you're likely to find are worm beds and shellfish beds. For worm beds, look for large or small areas of small holes in the ground. These will typically be lugworm burrows, though ragworm burrows can also be found, especially within estuary and harbour areas. For shellfish like mussels, they are found on the surface, on areas like rock patches where the feature gets submerged regularly by the tide. Other shellfish colonies like razor clam and cockles can be found beneath the sand. Aiming casts to any of the colony features just mentioned can prove effective with any bait, though a common method that many anglers use involves using the same bait type to match the hatch. The idea is that fish will be in a certain hunting mode if surveying a certain feature for prey. These types of colony features can be effective to fish after rough wave action at a venue, as much of the natural food becomes dislodged and fish have evolved to seek these conditions out to feed once the waves have settled. If you would like to know more on how to predict wave action, we'll make sure to include the link at the end of the video. Finally, a quick note on currents and coast. One thing to keep an eye out for are points on the beach, where large mounds of seaweed and other debris are dumped up in one concentrated spot. This can indicate an area where there is a concentrated stream of current that will also carry fish and the food that these fish will be looking to scavenge. Another feature to look out for are outflows. These are natural drainage points that can leach warmth and nutrients off the land, promoting the growth of weed beds and other food-holding features. Just be aware that if these leach from farmland, it may be at certain times these outflows can carry chemicals such as fertilizers and pesticides, which may deter fish. Hi guys, just a quick reminder, if you like my videos and find that you are learning some useful tips, please do remember to click the subscribe button just under this video. Subscribing is completely free. There's no sign-up process as it's all done at the click of a button. Also do remember to hit the like button if you find a specific video interesting and helpful. Doing these things really does help support the channel and allows me to keep making more and more helpful videos that will hopefully make your sessions that much more enjoyable. Thanks so much guys. As mentioned earlier, if you would like to know more about how to predict food dislodging rough wave action at a venue, check out the link showing now. We also have many other videos on our channel page relating to other fishing conditions, as well as guides on how to catch many specific species, of which we'll be posting regular new editions. So be sure to keep an eye out. Hitting the bell icon will keep you updated. Thanks again for watching this issue of Lighthouse Sea Fishing Tutorials. Until next time.